Welcome to Topsail Insider, where you can hear all about the businesses and events in the beautiful coastal towns in the greater Topsail area of North Carolina. Coming up, I have Chef Steve Christian and surfer Cody Leutgens in the studio. These two have a lot going on. They've been serving up great food at Shaka Taco, and Cody's been running a surf school on Topsail Island for quite some time now. But when they spread stoke, they really go for it. Now they have a second Shaka Taco location in Hampstead and the Ironclad Golf and Beer Garden that includes the very popular backyard music stage. That location also hosts the Hampstead Farmers Market and more. Get ready for Shaka Taco on today's episode of Topsail Insider. Experience a new level of luxury on Topsail Island at Saltwater Suites in Surf City, North Carolina. With no nightly minimum, you can enjoy short getaways or an extended stay. Each suite features luxury bedding, full kitchens with dining tables and dishwashers. And all suites other than the 3 ADA suites have full-size washers and dryers. And don't forget about those beautiful ocean views. 24/7 self-check-in provides a hassle-free and seamless experience. Saltwater Suites is the perfect choice for your next beach getaway. Book your next Topsail visit at saltwatertopsail.com or call 910-886-4818. Saltwater Suites, Topsail Island's premier luxury hospitality experience. Come on out to Surf City Line for the best made-from-scratch beach and bowls on Topsail Island. Treat yourself to their delicious bowls with shrimp, steak, fish, chicken, or pork. Or enjoy their peel-and-eat shrimp, beach break salads, and more. They offer a full bar serving handcrafted cocktails, incredible margaritas, and they proudly serve North Carolina craft beer. The Line boasts the biggest deck on the island with 3 levels for listening to live music, relaxing in the sun, or head on up to the top deck to enjoy your meal with ocean views. Visit surfcitylinenc.com for their full menus. The best service and beach vibes on the island await you at 2112 North New River Drive. Whether you're a local or visiting from out of town, celebrating a special occasion, or just soaking up the sun with family and friends, it's always a great time at Surf City Line. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Topsail Insider. My name is Krista, and I am your host. Today, we are talking to Cody Leutgens and Steve Christian. They are the owners of Shaka Taco with their first location in Surf City and now a second location in Hampstead, along with Ironclad Golf and Beer Garden with its awesome backyard music space. And on top of all that, Cody is also the owner of Surf City Surf School on Topsail Island. The Hampstead location hosts the Hampstead Farmers Market every Thursday evening, and they're now leasing to other businesses on the property like the popular pickleball courts and the Sundial Coffee second location. Welcome, Cody. Welcome, Steve. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to be here.
Thanks, Krista.
We met at the Hampstead location for the pre-interview, and I joked, but it was really no joke. You are doing me a favor because Shaka Taco does not need my podcast to get the word out. Everyone loves what you're doing. So while we're going to talk about your business and Shaka Taco and the music and all that, I really just want to get to know the two of you a lot better so that people get to know you as a neighbor and a friend. Something I don't hear much these days, you both grew up here in this area. Let's start with you, Cody. Tell me about the days you grew up on the island. I want to hear about what island life was like for a kid.
It was awesome. Growing up on the island was very special to me. I have a 10-month-old boy now, and I can't wait for him to have similar experiences that I had when my parents built our home there. We were the only house in Pleasant Cove in the neighborhood about 2 miles south of the bridge. And I had just tree forts everywhere. And
you had tree forts?
Tons of tree forts.
Bunch of trees on Topsail.
There's actually a Tree City USA just recently. Congratulations, Surf City.
I didn't know that. I knew Wilmington had that title.
We are a Tree City USA. I think they announced it this week.
Okay, so you had tree forts and people were they wanted to come hang out with you.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe not with me, but with the beach.
I would definitely have hung out with you as a kid. and some tree forks.
I would think I would have hung out with you. I'd have been intimidated because you're such a cool dude.
I get that all the time.
Yeah, Steve would bring his guitar to school. That was really cool. I was really jealous.
Get back to Cody's growing up on the island.
Grew up on the island. I did.
The beach was your backyard.
Yeah. I had
So
this
when did you start surfing?
Pretty much when I could walk. So my brother was 6 years older than me, and he had some buddies that would all surf, and there was a pretty big age gap there between myself and these other surfers. So wasn't always allowed to surf with them. Often had to ride in the back of the truck in the dead of winter to go surf, the pier or something like that. Some of my earliest and only memories of my dad were pushing me into waves, and we've got some old photos of that, and really just enjoying being in the water. And that played a big part in who I grew up to be and really appreciating the natural surroundings in Topsail.
And Steve, you were born and raised in Wilmington, right?
Yeah. I grew up on the mean streets of Bayshore, right in the Ogden area. So yeah, just right down the street on 17, and lived there my whole life. Had a big family that all lived in Bayshore. They all moved from Long Island in the late 80s, and had me, my two sets of cousins, and grandmother there. So really grew up in a tight-knit family.
You mentioned that you started gaining your restaurant experience pretty early in life.
Yeah, yes. Like I said, all the family being from New York. Had family friends also from New York that started a pizzeria in Ogden area called Our Town Pizzeria, and this was in the mid 90s to late 90s. And
was it still there?
No, it's currently a really cool smoke shop, 777s, I believe. But yeah, it spent a lot of time there. They had a cool little arcade, and it was a pizza shop. As a young chubby kid, loved pizza and loved playing arcade games, and growing up there watching the Yankees win World Series. And I would sneak back into the kitchen sometimes when the owners weren't looking. And
Sure.
yeah, just growing up there. And then my mom cooked a lot, being an Italian, and she instilled a lot of passion for food in me.
When did the two of you guys meet?
It was August 22nd,
yes,
2003.
A lovely summer evening in Surf City under the pier.
Was it love at first sight?
I saw his glistening reddish hue of a hair and
ran into my arms.
Said, "Who is this cool man with all his hot cousins?"
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, really?
I did have good looking cousins, and that's what gained some popularity when we moved to high school. But
Cody had ulterior motives.
Yeah, rightfully so. We met our freshman year of high school at Topsail.
And you mentioned an incident where you flipped over a golf cart. So who's going to tell me about that story?
Well, so Steve was a outstanding athlete, and I was just deathly jealous of this. So I said, "Steve, why don't you jump on this golf cart and we'll go for a spin?" And spin we did. So it was actually just right down the street of where we're sitting, down the street from the Hampstead location, and we were just goofing off.
Oh, really?
I was doing donuts by myself in the golf cart, and then Steve jumped in, and I flipped that thing on him so fast. But what I did even faster was yanked the golf cart off of his bleeding leg.
Oh, no.
It was that was the most memorable part.
I would say so. There's no 15-year-old that could lift a golf cart that fast.
Really?
At that time.
One-handed. Yeah. Not a big deal at all. And yeah, that's probably what I remember most, other than like all the skin grafts and like the couple weeks he spent in the hospital, and then you were in a wheelchair for a while.
No, I was in the hospital for 10 days, had to get some ligaments rotated, and it actually helped my basketball career because I'm unable to roll that ankle. So Cody did me quite a favor, but still to this day, 35, and every time I hang out with Cody or go on a trip, my mom's like, "Okay, well, don't get hurt," because he's been a big part of a lot of my injuries, which I think has created a close bond.
At least the two worst ones. Not like not every chipped nail, but
yeah.
There was a bicycle race we were probably in our late teens or maybe 20, and
we used to work at Daddy Mac's on the island together, and then after shifts we would get on our bikes and ride all the way to the south end and all the way back, and I think we were hanging out with some buddies, and went
pretty
on
sure we were
on
top of the White Tower.
Hung out on top of one of the observation towers.
I've heard,
late one night. That used to be a fun thing to do, and then we were just charging back, and I lost an unfortunate rigged game of rock paper scissors where I had to hold the boombox. So I was one-armed and not prepared to slam on some front brakes, and that's what I did, and went over the handlebars and spent some more time in the hospital.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we tried to put his shoulder back into the socket for a little while.
No.
And then we decided that we should probably stop doing that.
So we've been through some stuff together, Krista.
No kidding.
Not just tacos.
Been through some stuff.
But you were a stellar athlete in high school. So how were you, like,
That was pretty
Was
good.
it cut short? Like what?
Nobody knows about the legend of Steve Christian on the athletic fields.
Well,
That's
you're
okay.
going to either talk about it or I am. So
I'll talk about it. I'm
Okay.
talking quarterback, star baseball player. We're missing a sport.
Conference Player of the Year in basketball in
Basketball.
2007. No
God,
big deal. No big deal. The sports
Your
kind of
high
dominated
school?
my youth.
So these injuries didn't slow you down.
Not one bit. Not one bit. You don't slow this down.
You know.
Like a wrecking ball, man.
But you say you weren't athletic, but you were professionally surfing.
I did. I spent my whole life surfing. That was what I would do. It was funny. Competition surfing is different than, say, obviously like a team sport, but it takes a lot of time. You have to travel to the event. It's all day. Sometimes it's a week. And the better you do, sometimes you drive all the way to the Outer Banks for a contest and you surf for 15 minutes and drive back because you lost. But a lot of times on the weekends, wasn't that like I didn't have good relationships with my friends, but I didn't get to do a lot of the things that they were all doing together. So it was like
George traveling for the
Yeah, and
competitions.
this is almost 75 years ago, so nobody had cell phones or anything like that. But you get all the stories second or third or fourth hand on Monday morning about
all the fun Steve had.
like all the kisses. That was the big one. Everybody's getting hugs and holding hands, and I just didn't get a lot of that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry.
but yes, a very different sport style. But yeah, I surfed competitively and fortunately won the men's national title when I was 18. That was really cool. And
That's amazing.
yeah, I'd qualified to surf that event since I was like, I don't know, 10. And
Oh my
really could
gosh.
just kind of never really afford to go. It's just a big trip. It's one thing to go to the Outer Banks or to Wrightsville or something like that for an event, but to fly all the way across the country and stay and do all that. So that was my first time going.
And you won?
And won. Yeah.
First time out.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It was pretty cool.
When you say professionally surfing, what does that mean? You're not competing anymore.
Yeah, people basically paid me millions and millions of dollars to just go out and surf and do nothing. Yeah.
I was always jealous of Cody in high school because he had the coolest gear and he didn't have to pay for it because the coolest brands would be like, here you go, Mr. Cody. Thanks for surfing and showing off our sticker.
No way.
Here's
Really?
some shorts and shirts.
I think that was more the fact that the surf industry was doing very well and I was just this random kid in Topsail that surfed pretty good. It just kind of fit.
And
that's how they did it, you know.
Yeah, and then Rockstar energy drink. That was a big one, big winner for us high schoolers because Cody was sponsored by them, and he would
Really?
bring cases of Rockstar energy
way.
drink to Topsail High School, and it would just get raided by all his buddies. So you'd have a bunch of hopped up high schoolers just running around the hallways.
It's a true story. I had to put it into it because I got in my car at the end of the day and somebody had not shut my door and my car wouldn't start. So I had to put everybody on probation.
Oh.
And I was like, you guys get
Ran the
stickers.
battery
You're just
down.
getting stickers now. You don't get the good stuff. No, surfing played a huge role in my life. It encouraged me to open my first business, and I have lifelong friends. Surfing is a very unique type of lifestyle because it encourages travel. You know, it encourages being outdoors.
Yeah.
And just being able to have those experiences at a young age was really cool. I think I left the country the first time when I was like 7 or 8.
Where'd you go?
I went to Costa Rica. That was the first time.
Where's your favorite place to surf?
There's no way I would tell anyone.
Oh.
Why would I tell you? Because then you're going to go there and you're going to ruin it.
I won't.
No,
But-
I'm a huge fan of Central America, and the convenience factor, especially as I've gotten older and busier,
Yeah.
it's really nice to be able to jump on a plane in Wilmington and surf that same day. Not
Yeah.
everywhere in the world is like that. Even going to the West Coast, can take you all day, or a red eye or something like that.
You were the one who found that particular location on the island in Surf City where you have the Shaka restaurant and your surf schools attached in the same building. Tell me a little bit about the history of that building.
Sure. That building became available in 2016. And prior to that, I think the people who built the building was Molly's Restaurant. Just a mom and pop little breakfast joint that was there for decades. I don't know why it actually closed, but it then was a string of restaurants that maybe were just diving into that career path without maybe the knowledge or I don't know why they didn't.
They were
work.
laundering money.
Yeah, there was all kinds of stuff
I'm just
going there. Like, I don't want to say something like mean, but yeah, I don't know what the heck was going on there.
But you mentioned that all these restaurants were indoor restaurants.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, you're making your lick in the summertime. Everybody knows that on the island. It's getting better. The shoulder seasons are growing, but you have to pay your December rent with the money from July. And so if you are trying to cram these thousands and thousands of people who are visiting the island into a tiny, loud, compact dining room, it's never going to work. People they're just not going to come back because they don't want to wait an hour and a half. So what we did what I had the idea to do was to move the surf school into the dining room. So basically a retail space.
Did you already have a surf school up and running?
The surf school was across the street. Yeah, it was at a different building.
Okay.
And we basically had the idea to cut a hole in the side of the building and create a walk-up window. And then we'd just run the food out the back door. And that's it. That was the idea.
So this was before you got Steve involved.
We were chatting.
You were working with a different friend at that time, yeah?
So the owner of the building, I had obviously had to pitch it to him because it was his building. And they, at the time, it was the guys who owned Daddy Max, and they really wanted the parking lot. That's what they cared about.
Okay.
They didn't necessarily want to open another business. They just needed more parking for Daddy Max.
Mm-hmm.
So they acquired that building. And then I said, hey, Steve Pask is his name, and pitched him the idea I just said, surf school in the front, party in the back. And and he went for it. He honestly really liked the taco idea, and his words, and I remember just kind of being like, no way. I just handed him this idea, but he's like, yeah, you can put your surf school in the front. That's fine, but I'll take care of the tacos.
Let's go back to Steve. Steve, at this time, you were in Charlotte when he had this idea, or he was running the surf shop already. How did you end up in Charlotte from Wilmington? First of all, what brought you back here?
Right out of high school, I wanted to attend UNCC. There was a basketball coach at a smaller school that went over there, and I was like, okay, maybe I can walk on to UNCC. That didn't happen, and so I decided to just pursue education. I just had such a good time in high school and playing sports that I wanted to teach high school and coach, and so that's what I went to school for. It took me much longer to get that degree at UNCC, just because of my own negligence.
It also was in a terrible bike accident. That definitely costed you at least a semester.
It actually did cost me a semester, but that's okay. But yeah, everyone goes at their own pace, and that's fine. But yeah, I got my degree in education and ended up teaching at a charter school. I did live in Charlotte for 10 years, and while I was in school, I did work in multiple different restaurants. I followed one particular chef around and watched him open up 3 different locations, tried every different restaurant that I could think of. So got the experience. Really loved it. Loved the lifestyle of working in kitchens and the camaraderie, and went on to teach at a charter school in Charlotte and help coach baseball. And then in the summer of maybe 2015 or so, came back here just because I wanted to live at the beach and all my family's here.
Oh, okay.
And I wanted to come back home.
Were you married with children at this time?
Nope. No, my wife was my girlfriend at the time. I met her at UNCC.
Charlotte.
Yep. And we had been dating for a couple of years. I was trying to convince Kelsey, is her name, to move back to this area. And she was pretty much against it off the bat. She was like, I don't want to move back and be part of your friends and all this stuff. But it's on the beach. And it's really cool. And the beach is cool.
She had spent no time here prior.
No. Yeah. I don't think she's ever been to Wilmington.
She didn't understand how amazing it was.
Yeah.
She did ride in the back of my Jeep one time all the way there. That had been miserable. And she forgot her clothes or something.
That did happen. The very first time that Kelsey met my family, she forgot all of her shirts. She came shirtless. She had one on, but didn't pack any backups.
God, that Jeep was so loud, and I'm sure the windows were down. That was probably awful.
Yeah, we were hanging out in Charlotte. I think we went to like a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert or something, and then she hopped in your Jeep and we drove back here, and that was her first time to the coast. And that probably what convinced her to move back here was having no backup shirts and riding in that Jeep Cherokee for 4 hours. I can credit Cody again for my wife.
I'm just trying to make up for all the money spent on the medical bills.
But yeah, so got my wife to move back down here, and a year before the taco shop opened, I got a job at Pender High School where a former mentor of mine, Mr. Madden, who is a principal at Hoggard now, hired me to coach baseball down there. Thought it was really cool. Started doing that. And then after the first year, Cody came to me with this opportunity of opening up a taco shop.
So the other friend that had the taco shop, he checked out, said adios.
He never actively did anything. He just was like, oh, that's a pretty good idea. So nothing had changed. The building was still sitting there, no like business. But it happened very quickly. It was like, yeah, you can have the surf school. I'm gonna do the restaurant. And then like, I would say 2 weeks later. So nothing ever transpired. The only thing that ever went into that building after it sold was what Steve and I did.
Yeah, I don't think anything was in there when you and I first met at that location.
Oh, there was stuff in there.
Well, yeah.
Fryers that probably hadn't been cleaned in 3 years. There's a lot of stuff. Gnarly.
Yeah.
So start over. Did you gut it and clean it up? What'd you do?
We took $5,000 a piece and started Shaka Taco.
That's how we started Shaka Taco.
Wow.
With $5,000 a piece and a lot of hard work.
It was me and Steve Steve's dad Howard was instrumental. He spent so much time helping us.
Yeah, so we did a complete rehaul. Like
it took 7 months.
Yeah, hands in the dirt and really rebuilding everything in that kitchen because we did not have a lot of money and we did have hard work. So that's what made it happen.
Yeah, basically just sweat equity. It was just like, we were going to do everything we could with the time we had to make it open. And it kind of dragged on. I think there's a lot to it. There's tons of permits. You got to get the town planner. You got to get the cops in there. You got to get the fire department in there. It was difficult doing that and also like trying to provide for ourselves. Like Steve couldn't just be like, oh, I'm just not going to have a job for 7 months. I couldn't be like, I'm not going to have a job for 7 months.
So what did y'all do while you're getting this going? What did you do in the meantime? You're still teaching and coaching. Yeah. What were you doing, Cody?
I was teaching part-time at Cape Fear Community College.
Oh, really?
And then was writing for just tons of different people, real estate, surf magazines, whatever it was, just tons of journalism. And my schedule allowed it because I could write at night. I could write in the morning. And I lived on the island at the time, was just renting a place. And it was a mile from the shop. So I could scoot over there, put the tool belt on for a couple hours, go to work for a couple hours. I guess I'm glad we didn't quit any of our jobs because I think we probably guessed it was going to be like this little summer gig that we're providing this new kind of cool surfy food option, but it was like we made a full-blown monster.
I think your expectations were a little lower than mine in terms of the business we would have had off the bat. I know that the first time me and Steve met, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to quit my job. But yeah, didn't the first summer and the first year, and then the following year, that's when I stopped teaching and did this full time.
Any regrets?
No.
He's actually going to go back to teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, after this summer.
Inland.
He really misses it.
Away from the ocean.
Yeah.
It sucks.
No, teaching's a good profession and coaching is something I'm passionate about, but I really like the lifestyle that we have built and I would not trade it for anything.
All right, before we move on to all things Shaka Taco, I want to talk about the surf school first, Surf City Surf School. Can you just give us a breakdown of what you offer at the surf school?
Sure. We do lessons. At Surf City Surf School, we are in the business of spreading stoke.
Spreading stoke?
That's really it. You're just trying to make people happy, make people, introduce them into the ocean and show them a safe way to ride a wave because there's truly, maybe like whitewater rafting or rock climbing, but there's just nothing that you do that is so part of the earth. You're riding something that the earth made. And it's just kind of a weird concept.
Are you still teaching there at all?
I do not teach lessons. My brother plays a big role teaching the lessons, and there's about a dozen or so instructors each year. Obviously, it's very seasonal. We do lessons, rentals, camps, coaching, and then we offer our products. It's not a surf shop, but it is a surf shop. Like we don't have surfboards, basically because the space is so small and the ceilings are so low.
But you rent the surfboards.
We do rent surfboards.
Okay. And paddleboards?
Paddleboards.
You can go to www.surfcitysurfschool.com and you can get all the pricing and the booking there online.
This is a plug.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sick.
Thanks.
You cater to all ages.
We do.
How young are you going?
We have a rule for 4-year-olds, but basically if a kid is confident and the parents are okay with it, we're happy to do that. A lot of people are like, oh, well, they're not a strong swimmer. You're not swimming. You're on a surfboard. And you're attached to that surfboard. So it is extremely safe. And we have taught, you name it. We have a couple camps we did in the past they all happen to be female, but girls with Apert syndrome, which in a nutshell, they have strong cranial and phalange disfiguration. So I remember her dad called me the first time. He's like, yeah, well, my daughter doesn't really have fingers or toes. I'm like, we'll see how it goes. And it went swimmingly.
That's awesome.
Still friends with her. We have a couple pictures of this kid, I think his name was Sam. I can't remember his name. That's terrible. But had one leg and surfed. There's a picture of him standing on one leg by himself.
The
surfing.
Coolest.
It's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that stuff is
That's
really,
got to make
really
you
cool.
feel so good.
It's pretty cool.
Can you surf with a life vest? Or you're like, Krista, like, I
Absolutely.
got this. You go get a coffee and I'll take care of the
Sounds
kids.
like it would be
You can
best.
surf with a lightsaber and a Darth Vader mask if you want to. Wear whatever you want. Whatever people are comfortable with. But that's part of it too. Growing up on the island or living in a coastal area, Hampstead, wherever, it's extremely important to be confident in the ocean. And that's what I have to tell new instructors is, like, hey, you might be taking out somebody who has never walked into the ocean before. You have to show them physically, put your hip into it, create less surface area in order because you have this force coming at you. So yeah, there is information that people need to know. And if it's one lesson or 20 lessons or mom and dad just listening in on what we're going over with the kids, it's educational and important.
And you do group lessons, but mostly group lessons, right?
All of them, advanced lessons, which functions like coaching. It could be someone's, they want to do a second lesson, or they could be wanting to train for a
competition.
Correct.
Excellent. You rent the surfboards and the paddle boards, but you also have apparel as well.
We do.
There.
Yeah,
Awesome.
an entire retail space.
You studied pedagogy.
That's right.
That's right.
Yep.
That's teaching.
The study of teaching. Yep.
The study of teaching.
That was a certificate that I gained in my master's program, which was ultimately creative writing. And so you had to pick different paths. So the particular school I went, they had like a travel writing concentration. They had the pedagogy concentration. They had a nature writing. They had a couple different ones. And I was really drawn to the teaching.
Did you use what you learned there with your surf school, with your students?
For sure. There are techniques of teaching that if you're involved in passing information or trying to show someone that you're specialized in, that's teaching them no matter what it is. So yeah, I would tell instructors like, hey, if you got a little kid, get down on your knees, get eye level with them, speak to them. Because if you're standing over them, it's intimidating.
Yeah.
You know? Techniques like that. And obviously lightening the mood, trying to have a script that has silly jokes on it that it's like, hey, once you get better at it, you can say your jokes, but for the first few, like, you got to say this one.
Say these jokes.
Yeah. Because it works. And some people are nervous and they're scared or they're embarrassed or they're wearing a wetsuit for the first time. It's super uncomfortable, stuff like that. So it's nice to just.
What's the oldest person you've had on the board out there?
That is a good question. We had somebody, my brother might know. It was much older than you think, like 93 or something.
Way.
It was crazy.
That's awesome.
And it was a man and then female. I don't know what it is. Young females, like any teenage girl, they're fearless. They're like, yep, I'm going to freaking surf. Adult females are terrified.
That would be me. Terrified.
And they don't like the adolescent female listens to every word that you say. They pop up on their first wave. They're like little gymnasts. It's crazy.
That's
and then
so cool.
The guys just want to do their own thing. And then they're like, I'm like, hey, whenever you get done screwing this up, we can do it my way. And then, you'll be surfing. I'm confident I could teach anyone how to surf, for sure.
And you said you had a 10-month-old?
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm sure that baby will be out there.
He could do whatever he wants. I'm not going to push it. I don't want to ruin it.
No.
But I truly hope that in the span of the next 8, 10, 20 years, like he and I are going on surf trips. And
it'd be so cool.
That'd be pretty sweet.
I wish that for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so we're going to go back to Shaka Taco now. With the background, Steve, you're the one who came in with the chef skills. He said tacos, and you crafted the menu, right?
Yeah. It was a big collaboration, but there would be multiple nights where I'd go into that kitchen before we open and really test some stuff out. And we'd have some friends go by there, and I mean, there was some late nights after teaching and coaching, going in there and trying out new menu items. But I had a pretty strong idea of what this area would enjoy. And after working in a number of restaurants on the island and seeing the same old stuff, it's like, okay, let's brighten it up. And took a lot of recipes and techniques from former chefs that I've worked with.
Tell me about Greg Guthrie.
He was like my first real chef that ran a French kitchen style. He was very laid back. He's actually from the area. And
from this area?
From Wilmington.
Wow.
Yeah. I believe he went to Hoggard or something like that. But he was a chef at Bald Head Island. And then I interviewed for a pizza job in Charlotte. He was the head chef there. Hired me for a whopping $8.50 an hour. And I think I worked $8.50 an hour for quite some time. And it was great. He taught me a lot of stuff. And I implement a lot of the techniques from him to the taco shop, how we cook our pork, how we marinated our carne, how we made our pico de gallo. A lot of these things came from techniques that he had taught me, because I didn't go to culinary school. I had Miss Painter, who's still, actually, she recently retired as a culinary instructor from Topsail High School. Her and her family own the Diver. Up there, the cool pink coffee place.
I
right
love
by the
it
bridge.
there.
It's awesome. They're great people, but she taught me a ton, followed some chefs around. And so I just took the experience from working to formulate this menu. And
how long did it take you?
Honestly, not long. Like
really?
There was a couple of tacos that we made in the beginning that were on the menu that are not there any longer. We've added some things, but ultimately we wanted to focus on freshness and just breaking up the monotony of fried food and cheeseburgers and hot dogs. I think when we were opening up Shaka Taco, people would be like, you guys aren't doing burgers and hot dogs? That's weird. I'm like, nah, I promise it'll be good.
You also added the acai bowl.
Mm-hmm.
That was there from the very beginning.
It was, yeah.
What
we did
you-
have acai. I think the surf school had a lot of influence on the menu as well. And it's like, what do you want after surfing? It's a traditional Hawaiian dish, and acais are very popular. Saw them a lot in Charlotte and started to gain momentum around here. And now we're not the only acai shop on the island, and we were for a little bit, but yeah, something good packed with protein, and it's a superfruit, and it's refreshing after a surf.
You mentioned that the one thing that you did have to change on the menu was the pork. What was happening there with the pork?
Original taco I stole directly from Chef Guthrie and the pizza shop. It was a pulled pork peppadew pizza that I loved, and caramelized onions. And so the original pork taco was the braised pork, peppadew peppers, which is a South African sweet pepper, and this I forget what
the peppadew slaw.
The peppadew slaw, yeah. So there's a lot of peppadew. It's fun to say too, but it was not cost efficient. And
it was tasty though, and it was by far the prettiest taco.
Why did you have to change that up?
Because we got sick of telling people what peppadew peppers were, and we also
so it had nothing to do with the health department or anything like that. It was just like, we need
health
to mix.
department were super stoked about peppadews.
They
love that.
They couldn't get enough peppadew peppers. We actually, it started getting so difficult to find them that we could only get them on Amazon. So they would come in jars.
What?
12-ounce jars from Amazon. And then if you forget to order them, you're completely screwed. But
what is it?
We also eliminated purple cabbage. So by changing because that was the only item that used purple cabbage. Purple cabbage is beautiful, but it's also bulky and heavy and takes up a lot of space, and space is not something we have in the Surf City location.
No.
Right.
So I think that was the whole point, was to, and we do this daily, always trying to simplify, always trying to streamline.
Okay.
And by doing that with the pork, we basically made a Southeastern barbecue sandwich in taco form, which is a lot easier to explain than what a peppadew.
Yeah. It's a pulled pork sandwich, Eastern North Carolina style, in a taco shell.
What's your favorite?
I mean, the fish taco and shrimp taco just kill it. The fish is so good. Every time I
fried
eat it,
or grilled?
The fried cod.
It's just crunchy and salty and acidic and creamy with the sauce and the avocado. It's just a great combination. Like, we didn't invent the fish taco, but we definitely brought it to Topsail Island. That thing is just
And I mean, people ask for us to recommend an item, and I just end up naming the entire menu because it's all really good. The chicken wings are phenomenal. It's a North Carolina jumbo wing, so we put the money into a good product.
You said that you source locally.
Yeah, we do the best we can. And the big distributors do a good job of sourcing locally, and they'll let you know what's from North Carolina, what is not. A lot of the cabbage, tomatoes, a lot of that stuff's from North Carolina, the chicken, obviously the pork. So yeah, we do our best, and obviously the fish, all the fish specials are typically North Carolina or locally caught. When we first opened in Surf City, we would go to the fish market, Surf City Crab, and buy entire snappers and big fish, and we would clean them in the kitchen and sell it. And then we got way too busy to do that. We used to make our own corn tortillas. We got way too busy to do that. So we used to do a lot of stuff from scratch, cleaning. But as business grows, we got to simplify. And it's not like we're sacrificing quality for convenience, but we are.
No,
it's the quality's still there.
There's a pretty classic picture of our buddy Josh. So there's 3 people in the photo. I took the picture. All of us had graduated high school together. All of us have very successful careers in our own field. Josh is a chef and is just killing it.
He's the chef.
He is. Yeah, he's
where
he was top 10 in Dallas. He was on Chops.
I love that show. That's awesome.
And kills it. He does phenomenal work.
Yeah, and also just a great friend. And then the reason why I mention this is, so we're all in the kitchen after hours, and Josh is cleaning a massive grouper that the other guy in the photo, Corey Crumpler, who we also graduated high school with, had dove for.
Whoa.
And murdered and then brought to us. So we know that the guy who caught the fish is in the room, the guy cleaning the fish is in the room, and then ultimately Steve and I are going to put it on a taco and sell it. So that image was really cool. There's nothing more local than what was going on right there, 100%.
Yeah.
So cool.
And Farmer Dale.
Who is Farmer Dale?
Farmer Dale is a dude who if you had the opportunity to speak to him a couple times, you start to be able to understand what he's saying. But I would say 9 times out of 10, you do have no idea what he's saying.
Is it a Southern accent or just like a...
I like this. I guess real Southern. Yeah, Maters, man. I got corn. Yeah. And he would show up.
That was spot on.
Yeah, it's pretty close. Yeah, nice guy. His business sense does not exist. And he would show up at 7 on a Friday and park by the front door. completely in the way, and then just try to offload. And we would always buy stuff from him because it's great product. It was like, hell, man, I know you have a cell phone. Like, just call me, man.
Come on, man. I'm hungry, man. You got 2 chicken tacos, man.
Pick red onions, man. Pick red onions.
Yeah.
He's a funny dude.
Are you still working with him?
I haven't seen him in a while.
Nope.
Yeah, I haven't seen him.
Will he hear this podcast?
100% no. He does not know what a podcast is.
0 chance.
He does not know what a podcast is.
Moving on to the Hampstead location now. So Ironclad Brewery bought the old Belvedere golf course. I live right here in the area, and I can tell you that everyone here was absolutely thrilled when the brewery came in to get that golf course revitalized, because the alternative were hundreds of apartments or condos. But then how did you guys get involved after they bought that property and started the revitalization of the golf course?
If I'm remembering correctly, I think Cody caught wind of the land being purchased over here and contacted the gentleman who was doing the work and was like, hey, you guys want a restaurant over there? And the guy's like, well, we're kind of putting our own thing in. And it was kind of left at that. We were like, all right, well, if you need anything, we'd like to be a part of it. But they ended up coming to Shaka Taco for a lunch one day and getting some food, and they really liked it. And the owner of Ironclad Brewery at the time, Ted Coughlin, he contacted us and was like, okay, I got this building in Hampstead, and you guys go ahead and upfit it, and you can have a restaurant. You can have your second location at this Ironclad Golf and Beer Garden. And that's where it started. And we were like, cool. So we signed a lease in April of 21, maybe, or 22.
So they had intentions to put a restaurant in that same space. Mm-hmm. And then they just, like your friend, opted out.
Yeah.
That's too much
I don't think
work.
people understand how much work it is to build a restaurant from scratch.
That's what my buddy who, in the original Shaka Taco location, he said, you don't want to work that hard. There was maybe a little bit more to it than Steve's remembering, because I think our name had been thrown in the hat around the neighborhood a little bit, because I'm checking the waves and this old surf friend of mine mentioned it. And that was the first I'd heard about him. He's like, yeah, Shaka Taco came up several times because I think Ted was doing a really good job of communicating with the neighborhood.
That's right.
And just kind of like, hey, what do you guys want? What are you looking for? What would really, what would you come to often? And that was by far the biggest project, in both financially and time. That made the Surf City location look like a just kicking rocks.
You gutted it.
It was already gutted.
It was already gutted.
Partially. Yeah. It was. I try to be a very compartmentalized person. I like to make lists, and I like to look at a project and go, okay, this is how I'm going to tackle that. And then I'm going to move on. Just speaking for myself, like, it was very overwhelming to just walk across the sidewalk to get from one building to the other, because there was just stuff everywhere. Big project stuff.
This was before they opened the golf course back up.
There was 9 holes of the golf course open at this point.
Open.
There was,
with the little shack there with the beer taps?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That was the only operable building. Everything else was gutted.
Okay.
So the long short of it was, Shaka Taco's name was in the hat. They came and kind of did like a secret shopper. They were like, yep, this is what we're looking for. We met on site. They told us all their plans and what was going where and how, and it seemed like the best choice was to have a more symbiotic relationship and have one big happy family. Mm-hmm. So the golf course, the beer garden, the restaurant, everything on the property be all together.
Did you have to convince Ted or the brewery?
It was his idea, pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, it was
like both, I guess.
Yeah, like Cody's saying, we were signed a lease in April. It was just for that restaurant building, so we were just focused on that. But being the people who we are, we're walking around. We don't currently employ the people who are working there, but we'd see somebody sitting down and be like, hey, man, what are you doing? Like, so we were already getting on people work-wise.
That were not associated with the restaurant. Yeah.
There was a golf pro. He did a really good job, but he's got his own department. He wasn't there every day. You can't do that as one person. There was a superintendent. He had his department. They had their hands entirely full trying to renovate this golf course, which is still being renovated. And Cody and I were just kind of bebopping around.
And Ted was not on site?
He lives in Miami and owner of the brewery downtown, and an investor among a lot of different businesses, got a lot of irons in the fires. He came down and was kind of like, okay, well, you guys are here every day. Why don't you just buy into the golf course business? And we were like, well, it needs this. It needs a new irrigation system. And he was like, yep. So here's this low price of 99 cents. It wasn't 99 cents.
It was not.
Mm-hmm.
June 1st of 21, we were officially the co-owners of the businesses on that property.
Yeah, it went from leasing a restaurant in April to leasing the entire 176 acres in June.
Yes, that's correct. It happened very quickly, and it was terrifying, and still is, but it's going very well right now. we feel good.
Seems like it's going really well.
It's popular in the community, and that's what we want.
So talk about that golf course, though. You guys are still working on that.
Every day.
Do you see a light at the end of the tunnel with the golf course?
No.
No.
I get so pessimistic about the golf course, but I also love it.
You do?
And I do. It's because our best customer right now is somebody who hasn't been there in 6 months. Because if you come every day or even every week, you get blind to some of the changes. But the renovations that have been done to that course, that property, those buildings in the past 3 years.
The parking lot.
It is astounding. Steve and I have a great team. We have so much fun at work, but if anybody thinks that having Shaka Taco means you just have this cush job, you don't have to do anything, they are sorely mistaken.
Yeah.
We work very hard. And we love it. We love our jobs. We love riding around the course. Yesterday, we got to play a few holes to examine the status of a couple greens that have been closed. The superintendent has done a great job. There's number 11 green. We have a killer photo of one of the old maintenance guys mowing it with a push mower, and there's weeds on it that are 3 feet tall. Oh. And that green's one of the best greens on the course. So to see like, hey, here's what you're playing on, and here's what it was 4 years ago, even before we were involved, is it's pretty remarkable. Yeah. It really is. Not in a sense that like I'm trying to pat myself on the back, but just like it's cool. It's cool to see that change. People are stoked. Golfers are stoked. You're not going to please everybody. I mean, we have music, and it's sometimes we got to turn the volume down because we don't want to upset neighbors, you know.
Which we're going to get to.
Yeah.
You've had people come out and film on your golf course, right?
Yeah.
Movies.
The movie's
TVs?
Birdies. It's on Amazon. You can find it, and it's a local filmmaker. And they started before Cody and I got involved, and they filmed the entire movie there. It was successful, so they're going to do Birdies 2, and they're going to start filming Birdies 2 out on Ironclad in the summer.
Nice. Very cool. Who decided to bring in the beer garden?
That was part of the master plan from Ted.
Master plan.
Yeah, like that was Ted's original idea, was just basically golf, beer garden, bring some food trucks in, do something for the community, place to gather.
Who brought in the stage?
That was also the original plan of theirs, and it was just built way too big. Yeah, a lot of the original plans were not engineered or permitted, so Cody and I had to backtrack and pull permits and get engineered plans for a lot of these things. So we pretty much finished the job, enhanced it, but the layout was pretty much already there for what was going on. There were certainly things that Cody and I would change if we were there from the beginning in terms of the layout, but we worked with what we got, and Hampstead wasn't asking for much, and rightfully so, because there has not been anything to do around here in quite some time.
Hey, if you thought it couldn't get any better than Saltwater Sweets, well, I have some exciting news. I am thrilled to announce the grand opening of the new Saltwater Resort this May in the heart of Surf City, North Carolina. Saltwater Resort will absolutely redefine hospitality, creating a truly elevated vacation experience. All 24 suites offer opulent bedding, full-size washers and dryers, and well-appointed kitchens equipped with dining tables and dishwashers. And now you can relax and enjoy their beautiful saltwater pool. Are you ready to elevate your next Topsail adventure? Reserve your stay at saltwatertopsail.com or call 910-886-4818. Saltwater Resort, where luxury meets the waves and every moment is a celebration. Hey Insiders, if you haven't tried Surf City Line, what are you waiting for? Chef Jay has created amazing made-from-scratch beach-in bowls, delicious peel-and-eat shrimp by the pound, wings, salads, and more. And they have a wonderful multi-level deck for listening to live music, soaking up the sun, and enjoying food, drinks, and some of the best service on Topsail Island. Follow Surf City Line on Facebook and Instagram, where you'll find their lineup for all of their live entertainment. Feel like walking off that delicious food before heading home? Well, take their walkway right to the ocean for a quick stroll on the beach. They have plenty of parking right next to the restaurant and a large lot across the street. They're located at 2112 North New River Drive, where Surf City meets North Topsail. I'll see you at Surf City Line. You mentioned the decibels. Now you've got the music venue there. It's hugely popular. These are bands that are, I guess, local bands, or they coming in from all over?
Yes and no. I think so. I'll say first, we were going to work in stages. So the first goal was to get all 18 holes of the golf course open. The second goal was to get the restaurant open. The third goal was to get the beer garden open. And then we were going to do the irrigation. So all 4 of those things have been completed. We have other stages after that, but working in those stages, all of a sudden things are open. And what we think is a great idea might not have been the best way to go about it. So we have Aaron Stoll as our bar manager and music manager, and he just did an incredible job getting these acts. Sacred Hollow from Nashville, drove from Nashville, played with us, and then they got on a plane to go on tour in Iceland. Like, these guys were incredible artists. But I don't think that's exactly what Hampstead needed.
Yeah. It was basically trying out a bunch of different styles of music and seeing what would fit in the community. And we made a lot of mistakes, and we regret a lot of consistently loud bands in the middle of the neighborhood. And so we learned from that. Upset some people. Sorry if you're listening to this, but we're adjusting. And now it's mostly duos, solos, cool bluegrass.
So you heard from the neighbors pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, within minutes.
Yeah.
Within minutes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And we were inexperienced in terms of the music booking, and we kind of bit off a lot more than we could chew in terms of what we thought we could offer. And turns out you sign a contract with a bigger band, then you got to pay them, even if they don't show up and you're canceling because you think it's going to be too loud, kind of thing.
Or it rains.
Or it rains. Yep. So we learned a lot the first year, and we've dialed it in. I think people are a little more happy with the selection of music, but it was instrumental that we tried everything out.
You got smaller bands and you turned it down. When do you shut down?
The latest is 8. I think we had we don't
9.
shut down at 8. Not music though, right?
We've had some bands.
Yeah, I mean, in the history till 9.
Yeah.
I think here lately, I guess that's true. In the weekends.
On Friday and Saturday night.
We have music Thursday through Sunday.
Thursday too, yeah.
Yeah, yep. Thursday through Sunday we have music.
But I think that also in our minds, we were trying to create this cool spot to come and hang out and drink beer and grab a taco and like really listen to music. But we then realized pretty quickly it was families. That's who, that was our audience. And we never it wasn't that we didn't consider them, but they weren't at the forefront of our mind. We very quickly shifted like, hey, we got to get this kid zone under control because it's people like us. It's 30 to 40 year olds and other people too. But that's who we were seeing with a couple kids under the age of 10 and hanging for hours, man. Like they'll come for hours. Yeah.
So on Thursdays, you've added the farmers market, which is amazing. All of the people here love going there for the farmers market. And then the adults get to go get their beer and get their food and sit down together and have adult conversations. The kids are in that lower back long area having a blast. That back area, is that your kid zone?
Kid zone.
Obviously, we do, require the parents to supervise the children, but at least they can sit at a table and do it. And there's a lot of room for it.
Yeah. It's not like the kids are running through the restaurant and tearing things up and making people crazy.
Kind of.
Huh?
No, I'm just kidding.
Try to get some subliminal messaging.
Do you get comments from other?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Krista, it's crazy. Yeah, like when it's soup.
No, it'll give subliminal messaging. They're going to hear it. They're going to hear it.
No, it's anything. It's, you got a big space that kids can run free. And sometimes there's just too many big kids mixing with too many small kids. So it's just something that gets fine-tuned. But we got to hang signs and enforce some rules because overall it is a restaurant. And so you don't want a kid kicking a soccer ball through what is the dining room. That's the downstairs beer garden in front of the music. So it's just, growing pains and learning opportunities, and we accept all challenges.
Such a cool space, though. I do love that it's segmented.
Really is.
And then so up above that area, you've got the farmers market now. You were telling me it's like a true farmers market.
It is 100% a farmers market. You grocery shop there. There's multiple farmers with meats, eggs, poultry, you name it. They have it there. You can purchase it, and it is 100% organic. You can taste the difference. It is outstanding. And honestly, it's very affordable. Like I get blown away sometimes. Like I got a pile of pork chops from my in-laws last weekend, and I was like, hey, it's $30. Like I'm getting fat, locally made pork chops for awesome. 5 people.
Yeah.
Like that's a great deal. You're not going to any grocery store and buying that product. The product doesn't exist in the grocery store, but if it did, it'd be super expensive. Vegetables, honey, there's coffee, there's tea, there's seafood, there is bakery, there's
plants, organic plants.
There was a lady with Japanese maples last week. That was really cool. And then Casey Glover, who owns Green Drop Farms, she does lots of herbs, plants, also some CBD stuff. and she's the organizer.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Casey's a longtime friend of mine. We've known each other. We worked at Thai Grill however long ago that was. And once a month or once every other month, she does bring in a farmers and craft fair.
Okay.
Because
some people do want to
every
see
day, or people are asking, "Oh, I make this," or I do this, and it's not that we don't want that, but over time, a lot of farmers markets shift to craft markets.
All craft, yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever, but
Right.
that's just not what she does.
Yeah.
And I respect that because we do want to stay oriented on the food, but then again, that once a month or once every other month, she'll expand drastically. I mean, we go from like 20 to 25 vendors to 50.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
She also does a really great job of only having one kind of farmer. So there's not 20 people in there selling eggs.
Mm-hmm.
There's not 100 people selling lettuce. It's like, hey, here's the mushroom guy. If you need mushrooms, you go to the mushroom guy. If you need seafood, you go to the seafood purveyor.
I like that.
And
does she have to
rotate
switch
those.
them out? She
does.
rotates
There's
them.
a couple people who come every week. And I remember when it first opened, we were so stoked because we obviously want them to succeed. And I remember talking to Dave from Changing Ways Farms, and he's like, dude, this is great. Like, I'm making money. And it's like,
that's awesome.
Fantastic. That's the goal. Please come back. So I
So
think
you guys are just providing the space, and Casey's managing all the vendors that are coming in.
Yes.
Great.
She now has her name and number taped next to the phone in the register. So when people call and ask, yep, just call Casey. Just call Casey.
Love it.
So she does a great job.
But
it's fun because you come in. It's the same concept as what we do all week, but on Thursday, you come in, there's live music playing in the background. You grab yourself a cocktail or a beer. You walk around the market. You're talking to people. There's dogs everywhere. There's kids everywhere. Leashed dogs on leashes.
I was going to ask you about that. So your dog can come, but it's got to be on a leash.
Oh, yeah. And then, try not to pee in the beer garden. That would be great.
That would be
There's
really
plenty
great.
of natural areas outside that you can walk your dog. Yeah, and it's just a cool scene. Like having my son, I was trying to get out of there a lot earlier the past 10 months, and so I'm leaving 5-6 o'clock or something, and it's like, man, this is pretty cool. You're just looking around at a lot of really happy people.
Totally.
And that you feel good because Steve and I are not only members of this community, grew up in this community, but love this community. Surf City, Hampstead, this whole zone, like any way we can give back and provide something for this community, like we're going to do it if we can.
As someone who lives here and all of my friends who live around here, we're so grateful for that new space. Because, Surf City was the place to go. And now Hampstead has something that we're very proud of. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
So who owns the pickleball court? You own that space, but you don't run the pickleball court.
No, that is on the Ironclad property, but Howard Hess is the gentleman who leases the space from us. I mean, the pickleball courts might have been in before we started the restaurant.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
also hugely successful here, too.
Yeah. He killed it. But he's a local legend, Howard Hess. He was redoing the tennis courts whenever Cody and I were in high school, and we used to hang out with his granddaughter. So he's just been around forever, and he's a ripe old 88 and still out there playing pickleball.
Wow.
And I saw him repainting the courts for the 6th time yesterday.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Or 2 days ago. So he's always just putting work in, makes it really nice. They have memberships or open play for $10, but it's another rapidly growing activity that the community is very happy to have.
And you just brought in Sundial Coffee.
Yeah.
So they get their second location, and we get a wonderful opportunity to partake in the coffee right here.
If you haven't had Sundial, go check it out because it is the best coffee around. And Vic and Bridget are awesome people. So we've had a relationship with them for a while, and I think they approached us about renting space in the beer garden, and they put the work in, and we were able to make it happen. So we're stoked to have them over there.
Yeah, it's a great business relationship because I think that their product and what they do and how they care about their product and clientele matches very much to what we do. I mean, you're not going to pick up a Sundial beverage or T-shirt for that matter and not be like, oh, this is quality. You know, and that's really important. Their branding looks good. They're great folks, and we love having them, and it's working out very well so far.
Nice. Do y'all sell breakfast food at Shaka Taco?
Yes, we do. I'm glad you asked. We just opened that up probably 3 or 4 months ago, and it runs Thursday to Sunday, 8 to 11. And we don't sleep on the breakfast, man. It is really good. We've had multiple people recently be like, I didn't know you had breakfast. And we didn't really advertise it because we just have 2 hardworking people running it right now. And we do breakfast burritos, breakfast sandwiches with sourdough made at True Blue Bakery in Hampstead.
Nice.
Yeah, avocado toast, breakfast tacos, breakfast quesadillas, acai bowls, obviously.
Biscuits and gravy.
Biscuits and gravy. Yeah.
So that's Thursday through Sunday.
Thursday through Sunday.
What time?
8 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Okay.
And then Surf City has breakfast burrito. Well, they do a breakfast menu. They actually have a shrimp and grits breakfast. It's pretty bomb. That is right now Saturday and Sunday, 8:30 to 11, but that will be 7 days a week come May. So very soon.
During the winter months, are you going to?
We will not.
You will not.
We're going to do Memorial Day to Labor Day. They're going to start a little earlier, but tentatively Memorial Day to Labor Day, 7 days a week. And then we'll just see how the off season goes if we still want to do Saturdays and Sundays. We listen, man. People say they want stuff. We're going to make it happen. So if you say, hey, I'll come see you on Saturday morning, it's like, all right, we'll be open.
So the last part of this is the future plans. And I think everyone would be really upset with me if I don't ask you about that white 2-story building on the property in Hampstead. We all want to know what you're going to do with it.
Like Cody said, we've got this stages mindset for that location, and we have some plans for it, but it's just not going to be anytime soon. We'll try to financially tackle that in maybe a couple of years.
It's like any project. It is gutted.
It is.
It's going to have to be brought up to code all the way through. And for what the time and the money that it took to do the restaurant, which is less than half the size of that building, I can't really even put my thumb on where we'd be there. And it's a business. You have to look at return on investment. Do you go dump $1 million into a building on the side of Country Club just because it's there? It's like, maybe you don't. But I mean, some of the ideas we've thrown around is higher end dining. We've talked about a kind of speakeasy bar. That deck that's up there is really cool and looks over the range. And the course is beautiful. There's all kinds of waterfowl and birds, and it's just beautiful. It's it's a really beautiful space. So we'd hate to lose that, but you just have to, again, weigh it out and see.
Tearing it down is not on the table.
That's on the table.
It's on the table.
It could be. Ultimately, the question is, do you work with the blueprint that you have and go from there, or do you start over? We need a clubhouse. We need a place for golfers to hang out before and after their round. We need a better check-in. The whole point of renovating the golf course is, one, to beautify, because it was untouched for a long time and we want a nice playing experience. But two is to raise the prices. It's the cheapest golf course probably in the world. We don't want to do that. We want to be competitive. And if we're doing these kinds of investments, we would at some point have to be on the same lines as, say, Old Point or Castle Bay, who are our neighbors. And that said, it's hard to do that when they're checking. They don't even walk inside to check in.
Yeah.
They walk up to more or less a shed and like, okay, here's the $35.
Yeah, which the shed has its like perks and cool nuances, especially fitting what we're doing there. But yeah, that big building will be approached in a couple of years, and it will be some extent of a clubhouse with a little bit of a loungy bar up top, some retail downstairs. But yeah, those are kind of the loose plans at the moment.
And you're open to suggestions.
Yeah, okay. Always are.
What stage are you trying to wrap up right now? Where are you at? Like, what do you need the 2 years for?
The driving range?
Driving range renovation, or the practice facility that we have. So we're just limited on space. The irrigation system was the last stage, and now we have focused a lot of time, energy, and capital on the practice facility, which we are going to have a really nice one. It's already open. We're just finishing off some touches, building a giant pergola. It's going to have gas fireplaces, fans, electric water, kind of like a hillbilly Topgolf situation, but very cool place to hit off of and practice your irons and wedges, some targets out there. So we've made this project a lot bigger than it could have been. Could have been very simple, but Cody and I like nice stuff, and I think we end up putting in a lot more time and money into a project than initially anticipated 100% of the time.
The golf course, you said, was way more than you anticipated.
Every project of the golf course. It's like a wedding, like, so you're putting a wedding on, you put wedding in front of it, and all of a sudden it's 20% more. You say golf course, they're like, oh, golf course. Yeah, that's actually a lot more. So
yeah, anyone who's been to the Ironclad golf facility, we appreciate you guys. Every bit of dollars and dimes that people spend at that property goes right back into it at the moment. Cody and I are there to pull the strings. Ted is our partner, helping us out with advice, and we're just doing our best as a team to make this a really cool place for the community.
So I like to finish off my episodes with final thoughts. Tell me, like, just the one thing that you really want the listeners to take away from this episode.
I think the takeaway is to notice that you guys have something in your backyard in Hampstead now that you can spend an entire day there, from breakfast, lunch, dinner, music, cocktail hour. Got something for the kids, got somewhere to play golf, and somewhere to hang out for the community.
Yeah, as like businessmen, we obviously look at numbers, but we also look and listen at what people want. Sure, had we had a blank canvas for the Hampstead location, it might look a lot different. Just know that it all has a purpose, and we're taking notes and we're listening to the community and we're adjusting and we're fine tuning. And it's not going to happen overnight, but we're just going to keep building and try to have a space that people can come to and feel like they're supposed to be there and they want to come back. I definitely I want a place that people don't feel like it's a one and done. I want them to come and spend time there and know that they're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
That's big, having people come back. Our mindset is just overall extreme appreciation for anyone who's chosen our locations to spend their hard-earned money on. And that's the biggest compliment that we can get.
And our team. Thanks, guys. I mean, we have over 100 employees year round. In the summertime, that nearly doubles. And Steve and I are two dudes. You know, we're doing a podcast right now. We couldn't have our businesses open without our team.
Yep.
You know?
Shout out to Molly and Justin, managers at Surf City, and DJ at Hampstead. We would not be able to do the things we're doing without their commitment.
And then who knows? There might be more to come. You might see a concept from Shaka Taco down the road. You might see another Shaka Taco, you know?
All right, guys. So I'm going to give out the contact information quickly. The Shaka Taco Surf City and the Surf City Surf School is at 107 North Shore Drive in Surf City, North Carolina. The phone number there is 910-616-3118. And Shaka Taco Hampstead and all that it entails, that's at 2368 Country Club Drive in Hampstead. And that phone number is 910-274-9733. Their website is www.shakataconc.com. So Shaka Taco NC. And the email is fresheats@shakataconc.com. You can find and follow Shaka Taco, Shaka's backyard music space, and the Hampstead Farmers Market, and the Surf City Surf School. They're all on the socials, and I will have those links for you there hot so you can just click them and get easy access to everything Shaka Taco. So if you missed anything, just go to the show notes. Thank you, listeners, for joining us today. I always appreciate your support, and thank you again, Steve and Cody, for being on Topsail Insider and telling us all about Shaka Taco. You guys have been so fun. Thank you.
Thanks, Krista.
Happy to be here. Fresh eats, fresh vibes.
Hey, if you enjoyed today's episode of Topsail Insider, please show your support by clicking the follow or subscribe button on your favorite podcast listening platform. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Please also go to topsailinsider.com and join our mailing list by clicking on the Make Me a Topsail Insider button. While you're there, you can click the Send Me a Voicemail button and let me know exactly what you're thinking. Your message just might be on an episode of Topsail Insider. You can email me at krista@topsailinsider.com or call or text me at 910-800-0111. Thank you for listening and supporting Topsail Insider and our local businesses and nonprofits. These are our neighbors and our friends, and together we build a mighty and a beautiful community I'm super proud to be a part of. I'll see you around Topsail.
Hey guys, it's Leah with Topsail Talk. I explore local businesses, services, people, and activities in Topsail and its surrounding areas, and I post videos about them. You can find and follow Topsail Talk on Facebook and Instagram. You'll never know where we're going to go, but if you try one of my stops, be sure to tell them Topsail Talk sent you.